morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. This is Cross Examinations. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. Welcome to Blacklist Universe. Oh, it's kind of cold. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Let me grab the screen so we can see if anybody's even in here yet. La 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 la. Why is my Mac so slow? It's the same thing every day, isn't it? Slow Mac, taking time, blah blah blah. Well, apologies to everyone. Wow, that is a horrible, horrible thumbnail. I hope that changes soon. I think the phallus jokes are getting a little out of hand. Evan, yes, I got your Twitter, brother, and that's what I am. It is what I am addressing actually right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to have a private chat with Ethan because it's just too much. It's too much for my channel. I even did something of my own yesterday. And it's just not who I want to be known as. So, you know, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We do some stupid stuff sometimes. Get caught up in some juvenile behavior. But that's not the man I want to represent to my kids. So, yeah. I'm gonna have to ignore it, which means I'm gonna. Ethan comes on and tries to do that stuff. I'm just gonna have to boot him. So, yeah, Evan. Thanks for calling me out. You're right. You were right. How did it start? I don't know. Ethan came on. And gosh, what was it? I don't know. It started off as not as like blatantly ridiculous. It was just like, oh, you know what? We were talking about subliminal messaging and things on one live stream. It was like an Aloha hour or something. And it went from just random subliminal messaging and stuff into like hidden phallus stuff in all kinds of advertising. And then now he's just actively searching out schlongs on Google to pester me, which I get it. It's funny because it obviously makes me uncomfortable, and Ethan making me uncomfortable seems to make everybody laugh. So I don't mind being the brunt of jokes, but I think it's time. This is the end. Da-da-da. So anyways, that's out of the way. And yeah, it is completely polluted my Twitter, and I'm over it. So hey, Tippy Tail, General, Cyborg, Zoran, Evan, Xgal, Antonio, welcome everyone. Please do hit that like button, hit that share button, get some more people in here. I don't think everybody's getting their daily notifications or anything to that end. So let me see. Where am I? Let's go to yesterday's. Sorry, I gotta move this way. Yesterday's comments on good porn. That was yesterday's topic. Which, wow, that was clickbait. You know, good clickbait. Gotta have good clickbait to get people in here. I guess stop complaining isn't going to be, or quit complaining. However, you're seeing it when you come in. It's not going to be the world's greatest clickbait, but it's got a greater message for today. So, Watchman said, so whosoever looks upon a woman to lust is in the sin of adultery, as is hating another in your heart. is murder. I think that's probably slightly misquoted, but we get the paraphrase. The LDS, JWs, SDA knew each other, and they were all Freemasons. Started 1800s. They tried to kill Joe Smith because he stole the secret Masonic rites and rituals to start his cult, thus the pilgrimage to Utah. And I do apologize. I do have the same shirt on from last night because I haven't changed yet. I slept in it. But now it's getting hot in here. Now it's getting cold in here. I don't know. I didn't. That's interesting to me. I haven't researched that that enough to know that history. So interesting. By the way, you got the Calvary Chapel history wrong. Read the book Harvest about how Calvary Chapel started. Chuck wasn't a Baptist. He was a Pentecostal. Oh, of the Foursquare, they move the pastors around like Methodists do. Yeah, I know they did that because I went to a Foursquare for a while. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't. Gosh, why did I think he was Baptist? I don't know. It's been a really hard. I heard the story from him on, radio or something just decades ago. So sorry if I forgot. It's been a long time. It was Chuck's wife that had the burden for the hippies. Chuck said they were dirty, nasty bums. It's in the CC book Harvest. He didn't leave the church. He pulled up the carpet and took out the pews and let the hippies sit on the floor. Really? That's weird. And Calvary Chapel is a denomination. They are splitting into two factions now. As former pastor in Calvary Chapel, I can tell you the Moses model of the pastor being the Pope of the church is what caused so many issues that were covered up till they can't be covered up anymore. Many Calvary Chapel pastors travel with armed bodyguards. Wow, that's all new to me. And man, I went to Calvary Chapels I went to how many Calvary Chapels? Calvary Chapel or Calvary Chapel, like break-off churches like Horizon Christian Fellowship and The Rock. Those are all break-offs. And then Mission Valley Christian Fellowship was a break-off of Calvary Chapel. And then I went to a couple different probably 2 or 3 different Calvary Chapels, depending on where I lived. And I never got any of that. It's not, I don't think it's denominational at all. I mean, from what I experienced, they make a very good point to be non-denominational. Chuck did not have armed guards or any guards when I met the man. He seemed genuine, yet sadly yoked with many ecumenical pastors later in his life. By the way, Chuck Smith spoke in tongues. I've been in services at pastor conference at the home Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa. Chuck spoke in tongues more than once in a service. Really? I never saw that. Interesting. I guess I didn't see every one of his services, but interesting information, Watchman, for you. Thank you. Nathan Rosario says, the Bible does tell us to test the spirits because there are supernatural forces out there actively seeking to deceive us and draw us away from God. Just because Joseph Smith might have seen something supernatural didn't mean that it was a divine revelation. Yeah, that's kind of where I fall on the subject. Some people say he wrote it all, whatever, himself. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. On the porn issue, I don't know why someone would do that. I don't know why someone would just be like, I'm going to write my own addition to the Bible with my own made-up histories. Right? It just seems kind of weird. On the porn issue, what about artists who are good enough at drawing the human form to effectively create their own porn? What about them? No person is being exploited, and the person being lusted after doesn't even exist. So in that instance, is it sinful? Obviously, the answer is yes, but I'm interested in hearing your take on it before I give my own reasons for believing that it's wrong. Yeah, I mean, you're still lusting. I guess it doesn't really matter if you're lusting towards, and at that point, you're lusting at an idol, right? You're creating an idol, maybe not carved out of stone, but hey, in some instances, could be carved out of stone. Could be made out of clay, could be written on paper. It's an idol, and you're fantasizing you're lusting after it, and so forth. So, rather not say says, "Hey Mike, I was on Popfire streams a couple of days ago. Some pretty good points were made. Great lesson," says Oz Culper. I'm gonna have to get that. Tosspot says, "Great lessons." Thank you, Tosspot. Super Crusader said, "Jesus said, but I tell you that anyone who looks on a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." I know. In my mind, consumption of pornography, literally looking at a woman lustfully, is purposefully choosing to be unfaithful to your wife or future wife. Yeah, I've made that argument myself, Crusader. Maybe not so much in that show, but I have in my life. It's important to establish habits of righteousness in one's youth, especially those related to sexuality and the associated chemical rewards, as though patterns become extremely hard to break later in life. True. We should use the word difficult, though. I got into some trouble with that yesterday. Comments, no questions. My Sketchbook 340 says, "Hey, did Ruby Rose become a Lutheran pastor?" Oh. Or she cosplay in as preacher comic. Notice when these denominations lose their minds, they usually have that priest collar or uniform. Just saying. Interesting. Nate Walking liked my thumbnail. Yeah, I was talking to my wife about that thumbnail. It's like, what do I use? Because I want it to be clickbaity, but I don't want it to be like super risque or anything. So I just thought a hot nun kind of does the whole good porn dichotomy. Someone suggesting I use Google. Thank you. And all right. That is it for yesterday's commentary. Thank you, one and all. 45 watching now. And let's pop this chat out. Let's see what you guys have to say before we bother getting to the topic of the day, which is, again, quit complaining. What are you complaining about? Hey, you're a good man with a good heart. I'm an imperfect man with an imperfect heart, Evan. Aren't we all? General says we're laughing with you. Yeah, I know. I get it. I just don't. It's just not. It's not something I want to portray, or endorse or encourage on my site, on my channel, and to my children. So there it is. No offense meant. I know. I know you guys. I don't. Nobody needs to apologize. Don't worry about that. You have the right to set standards for your own channel. Yes, this is my point. Aaron says that's one way to always to be guilty. I don't get it. Do I own a copy of The Tao of Jeet Kune Do? Tippy Tail McKitty says, I have something along those lines, but I don't think I have that book specifically. What's up, P Money? What's up, Kyle? Mr. Hellstrom says, "Hey, Steve Alton retweeted me on your Meg link, so that was cool." David Peterson says, "Hey, Mike, just watched Doug's Offensive Christ. Looks to be an interesting show. Looks like you have competition." No, I'm glad. I'm glad he's doing that show. I haven't checked it out yet. I mean, well, I started to check it out, but I got busy, so I haven't seen the whole episode yet. Man, what is wrong with my shoulder? I already explained that. Oh, P Money. Somebody has to tell me why Ethan, John, all saying Mike, Mike, Mike. Where is this comic from? Because, okay, once again, Ethan, we were talking about subliminal advertising on one of my streams, and Ethan was on there, and he's like talking about, oh, it was about Joe Camel. That's what it was. I don't remember the thought train we got to get there, but he's like, he showed the little man with the erect penis on the Joe Camel packaging that was hidden, and then he just started going into seeing all these other subliminal phallic things, and now it's just become this ridiculous, like, hey Mike, here's a penis, what do you think about that? It's like, it's not even funny anymore. So at this point it's just crass. Disagree, Mike. You aren't worshiping it. You are lusting over it. Otherwise, your wife would be an indie, and clearly that's not what God intended. An indie idol. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that's right. Although, I don't know. Is it lusting after your own wife? Is that... I don't know. How would you define... Here, let me see. Let's see. Let's see what the dictionary says. Very strong sexual desire. Yeah. And I guess you do want to have lust for your own wife, right? But I don't think that's what the biblical definition would imply. All right, let's go to Blue Letter Bible. See what the word lust means. Da, 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 da. Their lust. This, I think these words just mean desire. Woman to lust after her. Oh, look at all woman to lust after. All right, here's a good one. Going to the Greek. Das Greek. So look at this woman to lust after her. Epithymio. 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 Male? Epithumeo. Epithumeo. That is the word. Yeah, lust, covet. Of those who seek things forbidden. I think that is probably more along the lines of the biblical usage of when it's talking about, you know, thou shalt not lust. It is seeking after things forbidden, because obviously, according to a standard American definition of lust, you should lust your wife, right? I would hope you lust after your wife because she's your wife. But to seek after a thing forbidden, to covet something that is not rightfully yours. Now that is a different item altogether. See, that's why it's good to go back to the Greek, do a little digging into what the word means, because like I said, the English language is so simplistic compared to Koine Greek. You know, we have one word for lust. We have one meaning for lust, right? According to the definition, there's one definition of lust, but obviously the Koine Greek has multiple definitions and more specific definitions. So la 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 la. All right. I'll super chat Aloha Hour to ask Blacklist Universe. Ha ha ha. Draw and Talk. Hey, Mike, it's my birthday. Thanks for entertaining me while I'm at work. Happy birthday, Draw and Talk. My Indiegogo Demons Volume 2 is religious, and man, people are not appreciating it. Indiegogo Demons Volume 2. Why don't you guys check that out? Happy birthday. Look at the 5 rings. I don't think you can covet your own wife. Right. But that's an interesting thing. It is the word lust, not covet. So, anyhow, no, you've got to like someone's body. I guarantee I've had lust for my wife before she came what she is today, my ex. Sorry, man. Johnny Torch says the difference between lust and healthy desire. Well, that's the thing. There's never mind. I don't want to. I'm just being redundant at this point. Berserker Pride, after you've done it a certain amount of times, I don't think it counts as lust anymore. It's more of a foregone conclusion. No. You can still earnestly desire in the English vernacular of lust after your wife. It's not. Otherwise, what are you doing? It's like you're cooking dinner. Oh, I'm just hungry. That's no fun. You're supposed to. That's why I'll make babies. Man, I'm almost out of coffee here. Done. P Money says lusting after someone else's wife, for instance, is not your wife is beautiful. I would like a wife just like her. It's I want that wife. Yeah, that is coveting what is not yours. Yeah. All animals make babies. True. What? Well, yeah, I guess true enough. Live long and prosperous. How does this work, Mike? If I'm pursuing a woman, says Aaron, not feeling lust, but then right after we are married, then boom, the lust come rushing in. I guess it's a matter of where you allow your mind to go, right? I mean, if you're like courting someone, if you're pursuing a woman because you find her attractive, lust would be taking that mental road directions that you shouldn't be entertaining. You know what I mean? But rather going towards her with not a desire for sex, but a desire for relationship, right? Lust is a desire for sex. Well, in this regard, lust is a desire for sex, right? But if you desire a woman as a partner, as a spouse, or as a relationship, then that's the direction you should be pursuing her. If you get married, then yeah, you can. Obviously, the marriage bed is undefiled. So there it is. On lunch, just got here. The Old Testament is full of lust and the results of it. Right? All right. Let's get to the topic of the day. Quit complaining. Let me see. Where is my article? No, thanks. All right. I am going to screen share, and then I'm going to go grab a bottle of water. So y'all can focus on this beautiful young lady for a minute. So Johnny Erickson Tata, for those who do not know, focusing on my tabs, we've got orders from ShipStation. Why aren't my something? Jesus Daily. Heaven has a blank. Meg said, this is like, I'll take Heaven has a blank for 400, Bob. Twitter, and stop complaining, which is what we're doing. For those who do not know, Johnny Erickson Tata is a quadriplegic. She's I believe, if I remember, she was in a swimming accident as a teenager, broke her neck, and has been a quadriplegic ever since, and has written books, learned to paint. I believe she even got married. Yeah. And and now she has cancer. And she's a woman full of the joy of the Lord. She does not use her tragedy to excuse her being depressed or, sad or whatever. She is where she is in life, and she has used it as a great ministry. So let's read this article. As Johnny Erickson Tata undergoes treatment for cancer, she recently discussed the hope for heaven and cleared up common misunderstandings about the afterlife. During a recent interview, what is this? Close this. Tata, a disabilities advocate and founder of Johnny and Friends, was asked if she's ready for heaven. Yeah, she said in response. I think any Christian should be ready at any time. Of course, like Paul, I'm torn. I don't want to face the rigors of radiation on a quadriplegic body, she continued, and I have to postpone pursuing options to address my chronic pain during chemotherapy. It's going to be a lot of discomfort in the next few months. I'm a little torn like the Apostle Paul, but I would love to be free of the suffering and affliction. Tata explained that while she would love to be in heaven, she believes it's more needful for Christ that she remains on earth, as there are millions of people with disabilities who don't know Jesus. And that's why I show up at work every single day at Johnny and Friends, she said. It breaks my heart to think the suffering a person in a wheelchair is going through is only an omen of an even greater suffering to come to if he doesn't know Christ. When asked what misunderstandings people have about heaven, the 69-year-old Heaven Your Real Home author said that it is the end when in all reality it's the beginning. C.S. Lewis says that this little title page down here on Earth, this is just the title page. Sorry. Why am I having a hard time focusing? Down here on Earth, and the real adventure story begins in heaven, she clarified. When we flip the page and arrive in heaven, that's when the real adventure begins. Tata was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer 8 years ago. After undergoing a mastectomy and chemotherapy treatment, she was declared cancer-free. In November, she underwent tests on a small nodule that had developed over the site of her mastectomy. After biopsies, doctors discovered a small cancerous tumor within the nodule. The best-selling author said she is doing well as she undergoes treatment for a second time, and said she is convinced God is sovereign in all situations. We can't lose, she declared. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, so nothing can happen in which I might lose. So I'm pretty content. To better trust God amid suffering, Tata makes an intentional effort to spend less time on the internet looking up issues dealing with her cancer and more time in God's Word. I think that's one way of demonstrating trust, she said. Am I going to trust the internet in what it predicts, or am I going to trust in God and what He plans? I've got to watch my screen time with the computer because God's watching and the Holy Spirit's watching. And when He says turn it off, I've got to do that. In a previous blog post, Tata said that she feels the burn of cancer treatment. She's inspired by 1 Corinthians 9:25. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training.
They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. She quoted what theologian John Piper once said about his own cancer battle. Cancer doesn't win if we die. It only wins if we fail to cherish Jesus Christ. Amen to that, she exclaimed. So thank you for cheering me on with your prayers. I'm about 3/4 of the way through radiation, asking God to zap any and all cancer cells within my chest wall. So ask yourself, what do you have to complain about in your perfect little life with your tiny little problems? That would just crush most people. You should have seen my dad after he had a couple of strokes and was incapacitated. A man without faith, struck down by disability. I can't say it about everybody, but my dad was a man without faith, and it was just absolutely spirit crushing, soul crushing. That you know, when you were hobbled like that, faith is what can give you hope and purpose, right? Without faith, I watched it. My dad was just miserable, suicidal. He wished he could kill himself, but he was incapable of it because he was so hobbled. But look at her. She's been like this 69 years. So she's been like this over 50, half a century. She's been a quadriplegic. And for almost a decade now, she's been having to deal with cancer. And she is praising the Lord, loving her life, spending her time helping others. And what are you complaining about? Have a little perspective, people. David says, on the subject of this cross-examinations was the same as our sermon last Sunday. We talked about Corrie ten Boom and the fleas in the concentration camp. I'm not familiar. Most of us are spoiled. Oh, yeah. In the West, pretty much everyone is spoiled. It takes... yeah, we don't even comprehend how spoiled we are here just because of the way things are. I mean, not just in the world today, but compare the way the average impoverished American lives today, and compare that to all of human history. All of human history. And compare that to someone living under the poverty line in America in 2019. Even the poorest among us, unless you are literally living on the street eating rats, even the poorest among us live better than royalty has in most all of human history. It is astounding the level of spoiled we are. And I mean, I appreciate it. I am not living in the lap of luxury. You guys see me. I have no room here. I'm living, but I love it. I thank God every day for every single thing, for the leaves on the trees, for the blue sky. Granted, I live in San Diego, so I can thank him for that blue sky way more often than most people. You know, for a cool breeze on a hot day, for a warm breeze on a cold day, for the coffee in my cup, for the ink in my well. I thank him for everything. And, you know, Happiness is a fleeting thing. Happiness is in and out. It's circumstantial. But if you have the joy in your heart of knowing you have eternal salvation, first of all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. You have this joy of certainty that you are beloved by the creator of the universe. And that is where you should focus your thoughts and your prayers and your how you model your life. Don't never focus on what you don't have. It's not important. I mean, honestly, what you do have is not important. You know, as long as you have a relationship with God. That's what I brought it up before, how they did this whole happiness poll on like dozens of countries, and they found that poor people in Mexico are happier than poor people. Well, average people. The average person in Mexico is very poor. So the average person in Mexico who is poorer than your average poor person in America. But they did on the average. The average religious person in America, 36% of them said they were very happy, right? In Mexico, where almost everybody is poorer than our most impoverished people in America, 71% of the religious people there said they were happy. So double. Actually, it was 34% because I remember it was more than double. More than double the people in Mexico who are of faith with way less than we have here consider themselves extremely happy. Your joy is not dependent on how much you have. In fact, it seems to be a detriment. It seems like the more you have, quite possibly the less happy you're going to be. So yeah, man, just be grateful for whatever you do have. Thank God for every moment, every breath that you take. You know that God can make your next breath your last breath, right? You know, my friend James just died a few weeks ago, and nobody saw it coming at all. It was just one day, it's your last breath. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? You know where you're going? I know where I'm going. And again, well, not again. It's not on my merits. It's 100% because of my faith in Jesus Christ. If God decides to turn me off like a light switch, I will be here one moment and in his arms the next. And that's a win for me, right? Just like Johnny Erickson Tata. It's this is our whole life here on earth is just the title page of our eternal novel. So, yeah, I guess that's my spiel. What do you guys have to say? Let's scroll back up. Everyone's saying hi to Nasser. Hi, Nasser. Tippy Tail says Jesus was also sinless, so it was easy for him to preach about sin. Well, it was not hypocritical for him to preach about it because he was sinless. Yeah. She's a female Job. F Cancer. P Money. Oh, Mike, love the show, but my wife wasn't a fan of me watching a show that had your good porn thumbnail picture. Just a tiny little criticism. Still love the show. Well, let her. It's just a pretty girl. Was it the word good porn? That was the clickbait. And it got a lot more viewers than normal. So the point is to bring people in to listen to the story, right? There was nothing absolutely. There was actually, I mean, unless you're just going to say the word porn is bad. If I suckered some people into listening, then I think we've done well. Johnny Torch says, I've listened to interviews with Johnny over several years. She's a remarkable person. Yes, indeed. Cyborg has one more week of radiation to go on his cancer. Well, let's all pray that it goes well, Lord. Father, Cyborg's got some a little more chemo to go through. We just pray that you rid his body of all of his cancer and somehow rebuild his immune system to fight it off from coming at any other time in the future. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. John Wayne interview. Don't know what you're talking about. In a few months, I'll be of regrowing 14 square inches of my face and neck. Oh my goodness. Wow, Cyborg, that's crazy. Hellstrom, I get hit by a rare autoimmune disease back in 2011 that took full use of my legs, but I still love life and joy. God bless you, Hellstrom. Hellstorm. Tea and crumpets. We don't know how good we have it. It can always be worse. Oh, it can be so much worse. I mean, think about where we were in this country just 100 years ago, right? 2000 or 1919. You go back and look at pictures. Let me see something. Let me see if I can say. Okay, let's see. Let's just explore some pictures here. So here we have poverty, 1867 to 1945. Making, what the heck is she making? A little child labor, never hurt. I gotta get into some of that. Let's see. A lot of these floors, or a lot of, that's not poor. That's the wealthy. This is just a whole bunch of different. Ugh. There's a nice place. How far have we come in 100 years, right? I mean, all right, we already saw those. Doing your laundry in your house. Look, you got your nice stove here. Wash pans. This kind of reminds me of like modern day workers in China when they have like, I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures. Poor house. Lovely working conditions. Uh-oh, mailman is here. I have to go sign something. Uh-oh. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be back in a second. Apologies. All right. So, off to a better life in Canada, perhaps. Oh, I bet you those guys are hating it now. Anyways.
just marvel. Yeah, it really does remind me of like working conditions and stuff in China right now. It's pretty grim there. Maybe in 100 years, they'll be living the good life. It's another palette of comic books. Yeah, Cyborg, of course, brother. I'm so not ready. If you dial while live streaming, I'll send my first ever super chat to help your family. You have my word. Oh, thanks, Cyborg. I think this is the message I needed to hear today. So thanks, Mike. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for being here. I hope that's why. Honestly, there was another topic. There was this other topic about heaven has a wall. Like there's a Christian grocery store that put up a sign that said heaven has a wall. And I was going to do that. And I got this sense that I should look for something else, that there was something else I needed to talk about. So perhaps I was guided for you specifically. You never know. 8-Man says he's going to hell, baby. I don't think you should brag about that, 8-Man. I don't think it's going to be quite as fun as you expect. Nasser Rabati says, build a wall. Build a wall. Build a wall. Yeah. Johnny Torch, I've been reading up on macrobiotics recently and trying to incorporate it into my diet. It's supposed to prevent, cure cancer through diet. I encourage folks to check it out. Yeah, there's a lot you can do to prevent and cure cancer through diet. I mean, there's so much. There's a plant called Wanabana that, it's funny, they don't do the research here, but in Australia, they did the research on Wanabana, and they found it to be, I believe they said 40,000 times more effective than chemotherapy fighting against cancer. And you can get it here. You can get it anywhere. I don't know if you can get it fresh everywhere, but you can go to any Asian market, probably some like Mexican markets and whatnot. They call it Wanabana or soursop. And yeah, something about it. I can't drink it because it like turns it's something with my stomach, but it's also good for high blood pressure, which is why I wanted to try it. But yeah, something about it bothers my stomach. But hell, if I had cancer, I'd take that. If it's 40,000 times better than chemotherapy, and it's a fruit, not radiation, then hit me up with some stomach pain. I don't care. Nasser says, I stopped reading my Bible for a while, but I read it more now thanks to you and Doug. Awesome, Nasser. That's great. Thank you very much. Don't smoke or drink alcohol. The paleo diet and keto diet are good too. Just avoid sugars, high carbs, and processed foods. Johnny Torch says, wow, I've seen soursop in stores, but never knew what it was good for. Yep. I guess some people like the taste of it. I mean, honestly, it tastes good. It's just something about it just doesn't sit well in my stomach. So I guess it's doing something, right? But check it out. Yeah, there's that. I mean, their hemp oil has been shown to be very cancer effective against fighting cancer. There are entire movies about, if you go to YouTube and watch The Beautiful Truth, there's the Gerson therapy method, which is it's whole foods juicing and coffee enemas, which sounds really weird, but this guy Gerson, he came up with this theory like in the 1920s, and it's been curing people of cancer for a century. His daughter or granddaughter runs the Gerson therapy clinic now, but because it cures cancer, they're not allowed to do it in America.
or they're not allowed to have a clinic in America. So the clinic for the Gerson therapy is literally in Tijuana, because you're not allowed to cure cancer in America because the FDA won't allow you to say you can cure cancer. But go watch that movie, The Beautiful Truth. I actually know, well, I know one person personally who cured their breast cancer with, it was either the Gerson therapy specifically or a Gerson therapy like program. And then she and her husband just started doing all this health, like they do videos and all this stuff. The Hansons, Theo Hansen and whatnot. And then my father-in-law's best friend, he had, I think it was brain cancer. Was it brain cancer? I think it was brain cancer. Did the Gerson therapy. He had, and it was like stage 4. It was bad, right? It was like right on the edge of him. You've got 6 months to live. So he does a Gerson therapy. He lives another 20 years and then kills himself because he had PTSD from Vietnam. But so yeah, just personally in my life, I know 2 people who have cured cancer just with juicing and that sort of thing. There's another one on YouTube. What is his name? Brzezinski. Dr. Brzezinski. So this guy cures brain cancer with, he discovered, he was a doctor, and he discovered that people with cancer and people without cancer have a specific enzyme missing in their body. And so this enzyme comes out through your urine, right? So it was like testing urine, and they noticed that there was this one enzyme that's missing. And so he would collect this enzyme, and I don't know what the whole patented process was, but he patented his whole process, and he started curing people. He lives in Texas. And so he wouldn't do anything outside of Texas so that the feds couldn't shut him down, because he was within the state of Texas, right? You should watch it. He cured all these people. There was this one lady who was at the Mayo Clinic, and they're like, sorry, there's nothing you can do. You're stage 4, you know, you're going to be gone in 6 weeks, I think. It's something like that. And so she went to Dr. Brzezinski. Brzezinski cured her of her cancer. And then like later on, I don't remember if it was 6 months or like a year later or something, she called her doctor at the Mayo Clinic, and he's like, how are you alive? And she's like, oh, I did this thing, and we want to come and interview you so that people can know that you were, that you had diagnosed me. You said that I was terminal, and just to document everything, we'd like to do an interview. And he's like, yeah, come on over, So they went to the Mayo Clinic, and security found out about it, and they wouldn't let him in the building. So yeah, check it out. Brzezinski, check out The Beautiful Truth. Do your own research. There's so much research on this stuff. Yeah, the FDA, the AMA, Big Cancer doesn't want you to know about. Big Cancer is a $10 billion a year industry. Big Cancer. That's why I never donate to cancer causes, because it's 80% of their money goes into advertising to get more money, and then like some small percentage of it goes to fighting cancer. And I don't sit here and say, doctors are all trying to lie to you and stuff. They're not. They just know what they're told. They do what they're told. They believe what they're taught, and then they ignore all of the cases of people being cured. And I don't know what their excuse is, but one of my best friends is a nurse, and he's just locked into that mentality of oh, none of this natural stuff works. Oh yeah, because you went to nursing school, so now you're an expert on everything. No, man. It's all right, Cyborg. You know what? Some people might need this information. DYOR. Do your own research. Check it out. We got about 5 minutes left anyways. If you guys want to jump into another back on topic percent because of the interstate commerce clause, something like that, Cyborg. Something like that, where, you know, it's not a federal offense until you cross state lines. Yeah. Oh, that's the weird thing though. The patent office who had sent him his patents. This is Brzezinski. The FDA like sent a stooge in to work for him. Like, you know, he obviously was hiring people, and this person went in, stole his process, and then the patent office gave his patent over or re-patented something they've never done. The patent office, the whole point of the patent office is that you can't copy somebody else's stuff, right? So they did, and they issued new patents on his process, and I think it was to the FDA itself. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched that movie. I should probably watch it again. But yeah, it's nutty. It's nutty. It's a whole scam to keep that $10 billion a year rolling in. Anyways. Linus Pauling Institute in California is based upon vitamin C uses for cancer. Yeah, vitamin C is a huge cancer fighter too. Johnny Torch says, if it's not a cure, they can patient and profit. I think you mean patent and profit from the FDA won't acknowledge it. Oh, if it's not a cure, they can patent and profit from the FDA won't acknowledge it. Right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is if you cure cancer, there's no profit. Especially if you can cure cancer naturally. Yeah. Yeah, my cousin is PM&R doc at Mayo, and he is an expert on nutrition now. Facepalm. Women. Oh no, that's man. That's a male symbol. That's a male symbol. Hellstorm is out. All right, brother, have a good day. Let's see, what is it? 11:09. Oh no, are we? We still got a couple minutes left. Hoping to get to go see Battle Angel Alita today. I hope everyone else has a chance to see that as well. I will come back and do a video on it at some point afterwards. Turmeric is the one that I love. Curcumin is very strong and natural. Yeah, I've heard turmeric has very, very strong cancer fighting properties too. Oh, your mom used apple cider vinegar to treat her high blood pressure. Basically got it down in less than a week. Boy, I have a hard time choking that stuff down, but I should more regularly. TheMegComic.com. Thank you. Spoilers or non-spoiler reviews? I'm going to try and do non-spoiler reviews, or yeah, I don't want to spoil anything that matters, I guess. Hope it doesn't suck. Me too. Add honey. Honey is like some weird miraculous food, you know? You know, it never goes bad. Honey never goes bad. I wonder if you had found like a stash of honey that was like 1,000 years old, if it would still be good, because they say it never goes bad. God has a cure for most ailments in nature. That's true. That is true. Have you guys ever heard of Joel Wallach? He's got a tape he did like in the 70s, I think, called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And I mean, I don't agree with the guy on everything, but he did do something like 10,000 autopsies on humans and on animals, and discovered that every natural cause of death is a mineral deficiency of some sort or another, or its root cause is a mineral deficiency of one sort or another. And so he's a big, he pushes colloidal minerals, maximum absorption minerals. And it's interesting stuff, because he was pointing out that the average doctor died back then. The average doctor's life expectancy, I think, was like 65 years. And then the average couch potato's life expectancy was like 78 years. So he's like, dead doctors following their own advice die like 13 years younger on average than the average couch potato who just sits around drinking beer and eating potato chips. So that was I haven't listened to that in a long time either, but I just remember that. Raw honey, not that processed crap they sell in most supermarkets. How do you process honey exactly? Anyway, I know this today's topics kind of went all over the place, but I think it was fun. It's been over an hour, so I do have to wrap this puppy up. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of this daily fellowship. Please do do subscribe if you have not already, and please do share this with someone who you think could use a daily dose of uplifting, of Bible talk, of, I don't know, theology, apologetics, encouragement, whatever you want to call it, whatever this fellowship is, and you can be the one to explain it to them. But if you think somebody needs it, have them stop by and join us in our quest to encourage each other. Thanks again for being here. Love you all. Good day and God bless.